My name is Aaron Stauffer. I'm the Associate Director for Religions for Peace USA, and have been working here for about nearly a year now. And so what I want to do is I want to very quickly sort of go through a little bit about what we want to accomplish for this webinar, and what exactly this new series of webinars will involve, and what we're looking to do. The webinars are really trying to focus on topical current event issues that will bring us to really bear on the questions of how our religious communities and our Religions for Peace USA family can become involved and more deeply committed to the issues at hand. Now, this involves an emphasis that's built from our strategic plan that we have newly refocused on this sort of dual focus on education and advocacy. In order to approach these issues, there's a need for us to be able to become most knowledgeable about these issues while also becoming equipped with the most appropriate ways in which our communities can act on these issues. This first webinar is focused on a very timely issue of immigration reform. And if you've been paying attention to the news, you'll notice that the Senate Judiciary panel just passed the immigration bill to open it up to debate to Congress. Now, this passes, as Jen will sort of focus on in more detail. This has a large impact for our nation and our communities. And so we're looking at ways in which we can really become educated and agitated around this issue, and more knowledgeable in ways in which we can communicate to others who we are, what we care about, and what we want to do. So this immigration reform webinar is the first in a series of topical webinars, offered by Religions for Peace USA, and we're looking to address important current event topics and how they're impacting our religious communities. We want to maintain a focus on equipping the participants with a certain amount of knowledge, but then also avenues in which to become active. And this is all in the hope of both building up Religions for Peace USA while also involving our religious community members into the interfaith movement itself. So that's, what I want to do now is transition a little bit into our presenter. Jen Smyers serves as the Associate Director for Immigration and Refugee Policy Center, or Policy with Church World Service. She's been with Church World Service for more than 6 years. And in this position, Jen meets the national and local policy makers to advocate for improved assistance for refugees resettled in the United States and humane immigration reform that reunites families, improves the visa processes, and treats all workers with respect, reforms detention conditions, and provides a pathway to legal status for undocumented immigrants. She is a graduate of American University with a BA in Law and Society, and a BA in Public Communication, and a Master's in Public Policy. Ms. Smyers has worked with Border Action Network in Tucson, Arizona, and the Migration Policy Institute in Washington, D.C. She has developed and facilitated various teachings, trainings, sermons, scripture studies, curricula, including immigration and human rights issue, a biblical perspective. Another one is entitled Migration Stories of Your Favorite Bible Characters. Additionally, there's immigration reform, a process of peacemaking, and also working with Nyack Community College's certificate course in U.S. immigration policy in the modern era. Ms. Smyers has also written a plethora of policy statements, pieces of legislation, and articles including immigration and security, public policy, and Christian ethics, which appeared in the Review of Faith in International Affairs. Another one is entitled Seeking God's Law and Immigration Policies in the Christian Citizen. In her personal life, Ms. Smyers volunteers as an English as second language instructor at Foundry United Methodist Church, and she is active in a variety of service ventures helping homeless women in the Washington, D.C. area. So I think we're all really happy to be able to be here together. And what I want to be able to do is transition shortly right now over to Ms. Smyers and allow her to really go through the slideshow and her presentation. As I mentioned earlier, for those of you who are just now joining, when we get towards the question and answer session right after Smyers' presentation, that's when we'd like each of you to go through and offer your name and your organization. Again, if you will call in, you can use your phone as a microphone that will allow it to distribute the voice to the rest of the group. So I want to thank you all for being here. I'm going to transition over to Ms. Smyers.
And thanks to Aaron and to everybody at Religions for Peace USA for setting this up and advertising it and putting it all together. It's great to be here with you, and I'm excited to get to learn more about each of you and your interest in immigration and hopefully be helpful and answer questions. So it's an exciting time to be working on immigration issues. It's an exciting time for many in our communities who care about immigrants in our communities, who know family members who are refugees, who are asylees, who are immigrants, documented and undocumented, and really for people who just care about justice and want to see better policy when it comes to how we treat our neighbor and how we welcome the stranger and all of those biblical mandates that stem from a variety of religious traditions. I guess to just kick off, as Aaron mentioned, I work for Church World Service, and CWS, most of you are likely familiar with our work globally on water issues, hunger issues. We also have an immigration and refugee program that resettles refugees in 36 locations across the country, and we work in partnership with our 37 member denominations as well to advocate for immigration reform, advocate for justice for our refugee neighbors, our immigrant neighbors, and for policies that improve entire communities, because justice, when justice is denied to one person, justice is denied to all of us. So we're excited specifically to work within the Interfaith Immigration Coalition. You'll hear me talk a lot about the IIC on this call. It's a great convening body. It's a very loose coalition of 37 different national faith-based groups working on immigration and working on immigrants' rights. And each of us bring to the table a variety of different subject matters and contexts and expertise, and we work very closely here in DC to advocate with national policymakers, also to empower and to provide resources to local clergy, local lay leaders across the country who are working not only on national immigration reform, but also working to defeat anti-immigrant bills on the state level, which is what we were doing a lot of last year and the year before, to lift up pro-immigrant ordinances, to educate community members, to host prayer vigils and local visits with members of Congress when they're in town, and I'll talk a little bit about that as well. I'd really encourage you to go to interfaithimmigration.org. There's a list of all of the 37 members there, and there are a lot of great resources, some of them hot off the press just from this morning. So I would encourage you to go there either during this call or afterwards. It's specifically exciting, and this webinar is very well timed because the Senate Judiciary Committee, as most of you know, just passed the immigration reform out of committee, and now the Senate floor will take up the bill. We're likely thinking the second week of June is when the Senate will actually be voting on amendments on the floor and hopefully, knock on wood, enacting a bill that meets our priorities, and that's the best bill that we can get, knowing that it's a compromise bill. So that's just a little bit of background. I included some pictures of our website here, the Interfaith Immigration Coalition website, and we also have a listserv that has more than 5,000 people on it who just plug in and like getting a lot of news articles and strategy documents and calls for people to take action, whether it be meeting with a local member of Congress or making a phone call. So just wanted to flag that. So what do we mean when we talk about immigration reform, and why are people of faith involved? I think that's a big question that I get, sitting on an airplane or around the Thanksgiving dinner table. People of faith are involved in this, and a lot of you all on this webinar can fill in the blank for why you're on the call, why you're involved. But I think generally speaking, people of faith come to immigration issues through relationships, through people who they meet in their congregations or in our communities who have seen injustice done, who have been separated from their family members because of deportation, because of detention, because of visa backlogs, waiting a long time to be reunited with a family member. People come to this because they have a relationship with someone who might be an undocumented young person or a dreamer, as they're typically called, someone who came over when they were very young and maybe just recently found out that they were undocumented and are facing really limited options in what their future looks like because of our immigration laws. People know individuals who have been detained, who have been exploited by employers, or who have been afraid to report crime because they're afraid that a police officer might look at their immigration status rather than looking into the crime, and we've seen that time and again. So people of faith know that when we see this type of injustice, we have to speak up. And immigration can be a very politically charged issue, but even though that's the case, even though it's politically charged, people of faith have been speaking out on this issue for quite some time. And I think among every justice issue that I can think of right now, the broadest amount of faith support is on immigration. There's a wide variety. In the IIC in particular, we have everyone from the Quakers and the Unitarian Universalists to the U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops, to the World Relief, which is the humanitarian arm of the National Association of Evangelicals, to CWS and various Protestant denominations, to Sikhs and Hindus and various Jewish groups, and we're really pleased to see that broad support from the faith community and the depth of that support. So that being said, when we call for immigration reform, we're calling for reform that prioritizes family unity. And that means stop separating families and prioritize families being reunited within our immigration visa system. We're talking about reform that provides a pathway to citizenship, full citizenship, for members of our communities who are undocumented. We're talking about a worker system, an employment system that respects the rights of all workers, regardless of status, and that gives workers who we value their work the opportunity to pursue citizenship in the future. We're talking about policies that help with integration and that help people feel safe to be integrated, to take English classes and not be afraid. Sorry, it's my call waiting. We're also talking about policies that reform detention. We've seen a lot of human rights violations in detention facilities, and we need that to be reformed. We need our due process in general to be improved in our immigration system. And then last but certainly not least, because it's an issue that is always discussed in high capacity in immigration reform, we need our border enforcement and all of the enforcement practices around immigration policies to first and foremost really take in mind humanitarian values. And we know that every law has to be enforced, otherwise, it isn't worth much. But we also know that the way that we enforce immigration law really does hurt people, points people to places where it's dangerous for them to cross the border, separates families, and we think that there's a better way that our country could be facilitating the enforcement of immigration policies. So we have this bill, and it's S-744, or the Border Security and Economic Opportunity Immigration Reform Bill. And this bill was brought together by 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats to draft this bill, eke out all the details, and we're very pleased, actually, to see this type of really broad and deep bipartisan support. It's the first time that we've seen an immigration bill that has had 4 Republicans and 4 Democrats on it at the get-go. So we're very pleased with that. There are a lot of components to the bill, and I'll be going through them a little bit more in depth, one by one. The bill does provide a pathway to citizenship for people who are undocumented, and we're very pleased to see that it's not a pathway to a new type of green card or some extra status or some second-tier status. It's a path to citizenship. The bill also, because it is a compromise again, calls a lot for more enforcement, border enforcement and interior enforcement, and really continues us down this road of increasing enforcement. The bill also provides for family reunification, and there are some good parts that we're very pleased to see, and there are a few bad parts that we are trying to get changed as the bill moves forward in process that we'll talk about. The bill provides substantial relief for refugees and asylum seekers, things that have been antiquated in our immigration policies for years and are finally being able to change in this bill. We're hopeful on those provisions. We'll talk more about that. And the bill also provides some positive reforms for detention, for access to counsel, and for courts. So that's positive. The bill also provides some helpful things for agricultural workers, temporary workers, and other employment-based visa issues as well. And so we're going to talk about all of these issues, but this is a quick rundown. The bill is 844 pages, so it is quite a read. So we won't be able to get into all the nitty-gritty in the bill, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to get through a bunch and to answer questions that folks might have as well.